What's going down, my people? This is Raza Stand Podcast, episode number 2, with half of your hosts, Brown and
Flow.
Brown and Flo. That sounds dope. Yeah, but thank you for tuning in for today's episode. And today's topic is, are Raza Democrats by default? And what we mean by default is that, are we supposed to be claiming Democrat when it comes to talking about politics? Is that something that, it's kind of like saying, are we Catholics by default? When we talk about religion. So it's like the same thing. Like, is going off of being Democrat selling out? Is that being like not what we are as Raza? Is that, you know what I mean? So that we're going to talk about that today, and we're going to bring you the facts, bring you all of it. So make sure you listen to the whole thing. All right.
Exactly. This is something that that requires a lot of work. That I had to look into a lot of stuff before going into this episode, because we're going to cover a lot of things that you might know, maybe you might not know, but it's really important stuff to know, at least for me. And going off of what you said with the whole Raza being Democrat by default, like you said, what we mean by that is, are we just born like that, and also, just to elaborate on that, I mean, what do we mean by, are we born Democrat? I mean, how can you be born Democrat, right? Are we just destined to be Democrats? Because just I don't know how your whole political stance is, or how you evolve politically with how you vote, but for me, I remember being very young, and like the first time I really thought about politics, or just like the different parties, I must have been like in 7th grade. It was during the Bush, and if I'm correct, I was Bush and Al Gore back in 2000, I think. And I remember just hearing the debates and just seeing who was who, but I didn't really understand the concept of parties back then. I just know that before in the past, that Bush Senior was a president, as far as I can remember. Being a kid, him on TV and just seeing the Gulf War and stuff like that. And I remember just knowing he was a president. I was like, well, if his dad was a president, that means that his son might be a good president. I mean, I didn't really know any better when I was a kid. So I actually wanted Bush to win originally, and I didn't know he was a Republican. And then once he became president, obviously 9/11 happened, and well, even now he got elected was, a big old scandal. And then once that happened, that's when I became a little politicized, and then I became a Democrat, because I figured, well, if this is what Republicans do, then I don't want any part of that, right? My initial stance with politics was to be a Democrat, and I was a Democrat up until 2009. So I would say pretty much, the first couple of years where I was able to vote, I was a Democrat. What about you, man?
Yeah, man. When they take it back, man, when we talk about history and all that, in school, I remember I used to not give a fuck about, history and all of that politics. I'll be like, man, let them fucking fight it out there. Let them do what they gotta do. What does that have to do with people like me? What does that have to do with people that look like me, that talk like me, that live in the in the environment where I live? How do we matter to all of what they're doing out there? I used to think that way, and now it's like, to a certain extent, I kind of still feel that way, because I feel that no matter who you vote for, it really stems down to what they want, what they see as important, what they see as priority in their eyes for the people, you know what I mean? But um really in the beginning, it was pretty much like you, man. It was just like going with the flow, no pun intended. Going with the flow and just going with whatever my friends were doing. And my friends weren't voting, and I was like, Chalice, I'm not gonna vote either. But you know, when I did finally start voting, I was just putting. Actually, you know what? At one point, I didn't give a fuck about it so much that I put Kid Frost. I wrote down in the bottom Kid Frost, Arturo Molina.
Wow.
Bring that food for president. Because I was like, you know, I was into that. I was into Chicano rap and all that. I'm still am, you know what I mean? But I was like, I don't give a fuck. But you know what I mean? Like when I actually got serious about it and I started you know, really caring and looking into who's running for, you know, for president, and especially for local votes, you know, for, you know, supervisor and mayor or whatever, all that, you know what I mean? I was when I really got interested in that, I started looking for my people, because I was like, well, who else to care for us than us? And sometimes that might not be the best choice sometimes, because like you hear with cops, you know what I mean, how black people say that like the worst type of cops for black people are black cops. You know what I mean? Because they say like Ice Cube, black police showing up for the white cop, you know what I mean? So it's like, and I started to find that out, that, you know what I mean, there was like these like local politicians that were into some scandals and things like that, and I was like, damn. So I thought they were like really caring for the people, like they're running for something that they, maybe initially they start running because they do care, or some kind of part of that part that they're running for, that title really pertain to their lives and really hit their heart in a way that it like it hit close to home at one point in their lives. So they wanted to put it back into the environment, into the society. But then probably, you know, power gets in the mix, and they start seeing too much power, and some people can't take too much power. They take that shit and they run with it no matter who they hurt. You know what I mean? So I started to see that little by little. But this last presidential election, I actually voted, and I talked to a lot of people in the sense that why didn't they vote for Ricardo de la Roca? What's it called? No, what is it? Ricardo. Ah, fuck, I forgot his last name, but he was running for president, and vice president was Kanye West. But I didn't really care too much about the Kanye West thing. I mean, that's, you know, I mean, that has his own thing going on, but it was more like the guy was a Chicano, you know what I mean? The guy running for president. I was like, why aren't more people voting for this dude? Like, you know, he's one of us. You know what I mean? So it's like, and then people started saying, well, he's independent. He's doing something else. He's not Democrat or Republican. He's independent. But I'm like, but if he's looking for our best interest, what does that matter if he's Republican or Democrat? Like, what does that matter at the end of the day? And that's a kind of a touchy thing for people. They don't want to talk about it because it's like, yeah, well, you know, he might not do a great job at it. But look, so better than Biden, you think? You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at, bro.
Yeah, and I think you bring up some great points because one, you said that we're either Democratic, you know, or lean towards the Democratic Party, or we don't really give a shit when it comes to
Mm,
voting as Raza, right? That's the other alternative. Um, it's very unlikely that you're going to be part of another party, right? So as a matter of fact, when it comes to being Democrats, 63% of Latinos consider themselves to be Democrats or Democratic leaning, right?
mm,
We're talking about the majority of Latinos lean towards that party, right? And, and like I said, you know, why is that the case? I mean, like, has the Democratic Party, you know, like historically been our friend, or
mm,
have they stood with us? You know, and most people don't really know how to answer that question.
mm,
I would say that maybe in the last, you know, 20 years, they're a little more progressive in the sense that with the rhetoric, not so much with their policies.
mm,
Because, you know, when it comes to being a politician, if you know how to speak a good game, then you're going to get a lot of people to lean your way, right? Um, and that's why people like the candidate that you mentioned earlier probably didn't have that going for him, because one, he's not well known, and two, maybe he didn't have, you know, a good following, and maybe didn't have this, you know, the public sphere to go speak, you know, and
Mm,
have, you know, the TV time, right? Because at the end of the day, we know that the media has a huge role in this too, when it comes to who gets TV time, right? Even with Democrats, I mean, I don't know if you remember, but in this last election, there was like 11 Democratic candidates
mm-hmm.
for that party, and I was really looking into all of them. You know, like two of the ones that I did like were Andrew Yang and um, and Tulsi Gabbard, right? Andrew Yang, what he was proposing was, which is kind of funny, it's this is right before the pandemic. It was universal basic income, right? So
Mm,
talking about not just giving it to people who are considered, you know, poor or whatever. He was trying to give it to everybody, and I thought that was interesting because even to like somebody who's rich, right? And his logic was, well, you know, if you have an extra $1,300 in your pocket, then you can invest in whatever you really want to do. You're
mm,
on, well, I cannot take this risk because I don't have enough money, right? So I thought that was a pretty good idea, and I was okay. That's pretty cool, you know. And I think he was doing it where he was living.
mm-hmm.
And Tulsi Gabbard, she the reason why I like what she was talking about was because she was talking about all these wars that we always go into. Pretty much every single president, you know, has gone to war for whatever reason, right? They'll give you a reason, right? But really, it always comes down to some kind of a resource that another country has, and we want it. You know, the government wants it. And she's been to the military. She served in the military, and she's like, every time that we gone, for example, she was talking about the war on terrorism, right? The one we had
Mm-hmm.
last. I guess we're still kind of having it because we're still there, you know, in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
How, you know, there was no evidence of any weapons of mass destruction, and we still went over there, and a bunch of Americans died for nothing. You know, a bunch of people died for somebody's cause, somebody to just get rich off of whatever they were doing. And she was like, you know, if I become president, that's what I'm going to push, and I like that too. You know, so even the Democrats that I liked, you know, didn't go on to the next round. They had to drop out. You know, but I don't really lean towards a party. I lean towards candidates, and I lean towards policies. You know, not so much rhetoric, because rhetoric can only go so far. You can promise so many things, you know, to the people, and at the end of the day, are you really going to accomplish that? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. And people don't even listen to how that's going to happen. So they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go vote for this guy, or I'm gonna go vote for this person because the way they look or what they're saying. You know what I mean? And I think this specific year, you know, with the whole Trump thing, which we're gonna get
Mm-hmm.
in a minute, right? It was almost like, well, if you don't vote for Biden, then you must be a Trump supporter. And to me, that is the stupidest shit I've ever heard, because one, there's a lot of other parties that you can vote for. Two, if that's really how you feel about the situation, that means you're not doing any research. You know,
Yeah.
and let's say hypothetically you are voting for Trump, you know, as a Latino, right, or as a Latina. Um, you got to think about why. Why would somebody take that stand? Why would they really do that? I mean, is it because they're racist? Because I mean, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, how could a Latino or Latina be racist towards other Latinos? Maybe towards black or
Mm-hmm.
other minorities, but I mean, if you want to argue that Trump was against immigration or against immigrants or just just Latinos in general, it doesn't make any sense why a Latino would want to vote for that. So you need to
Yeah.
consider that. Why would they do that? And as a matter of fact, I actually know this guy who had a podcast, you know, started really, really small too, just like us. They were called the Free Thinking Latinos, right?
Okay.
It was a conservative and a liberal. They would have conversations, right?
Oh
And
wow.
he had his own views on the Republican Party, and then the other guy had his own views on the Democratic Party, right? So they would
Mm.
go at it, but in a civil way, not nothing too crazy. And so I began to listen to him and began to follow him, and I was okay. Like, I can see why he voted for Trump. I wouldn't do it myself, but his reasoning was like, okay, I can understand it, right? But again, just because you didn't vote for Biden or you didn't vote for any other Democrat doesn't mean that you're on that side, right? So what are your thoughts on that right there?
You know what, man? Um, I think we need a tough son of a bitch to be president.
Exactly.
I think Trump took that took that literally. And no president is ever gonna be basically loved by everyone. As there's just too many views, too many people, too many things considered, which is, the economically, is just racially, there's just many things that you have to consider that goes into loving a president. um Shit, even JFK, which many love, had his flaws. You know what I mean? His brother had his flaws. A lot of people that were president. Abraham Lincoln, I'm sure he had his flaws. You know what I mean? But bottom line, my where I'm concerned about is people that don't look into the question of why vote. People people seem to ask that so freely, like, but why vote? Fuck it, I'm not gonna vote. Like, it seems to be just for nothing, because they win. Especially looking at it the way it went down with what was it, who was it that they voted, that they got the people's majority, and it still turned out to be the other party that won.
It was the previous election with Hillary.
Previous, right? Okay, yeah, so Hillary won the people's vote, and yet she still didn't win as president. So seeing it through that lens, seeing it through that perspective of someone that maybe borderline, wanting to learn more about politics and sees that type of shit, like that just makes them be like, well, see, I told you the people's vote don't fucking matter. You know what I mean? That, yeah, well, yeah, I mean,
It kind of does and it doesn't, but go ahead and finish.
you know what I mean? Yeah. So that's what discourages a lot of people. People that are borderline wanting to care more about it and whatnot. They get so fucking, like, fed up with it when you see things like that. Um, but I believe that it's still no reason to, like, not know what this world consists of. You know what I mean? Or at least our world, which is we're in the U.S. If we were in another country, it would be wise to know how politics run in that area or in that nation. You know what I mean? So it's just wiser to be in the know instead of the not care. You feel me? So with that said, man, I just my concern is, how can we get people to care more about this, to to feel that we have a responsibility to put our 2 cents into what this nation is turning into or evolving into. You know what I mean? So I think we live in it. Fuck, might as well find out more about it and talk about it, discuss about it, and see where we can put our effort into making it change towards our own advantage, if possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I feel like we're kind of on that page, you and I at least, we're talking about this stuff. That's one way to start doing it. The second thing is to start doing some research,
Mm-hmm.
start to dig in, because it's not easy, man. Like this,
Mm-hmm.
it's really easy to just go on social media and look at everybody's feed, and especially if you surround yourself with the same people who feel the same way and think the same way,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of hard to have other perspectives. And that's
Yeah.
one thing that I don't do. Like I follow different people that don't agree with me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And as a matter of fact, somebody asked me like, "Why do you do that? Like, why would you even put yourself in that situation?" I'm like, "Because I want to learn. I want to know why that person thinks the way they think.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna be like, oh, that because somebody's wearing a MAGA hat, they're automatically a racist."
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, if you're a Latino and you voted for Donald Trump, I want to know why. I want to have a conversation with you as to why you did that, or if you didn't vote at all, why don't you vote, right? Because people are complex, bro. Like you said, I mean, like you talked about all these presidents and how like everybody wants to romanticize people like they never had any mistakes, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and nobody's like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
These are all just narratives, and if we just can believe the narratives, then really we're not really looking into how people really are, or how situations really are, because we want to believe what we want to believe. We want confirmation bias, right? So for us, I think for Raza, I think we've been told that the Democratic Party is the best party for us because, like I said, in the last 20 or so years, it's become a little more progressive, you know. Uh, but what if I told you, bro, that the Democratic Party has a really nasty history?
It does. It's actually used to be switched around.
You can say that, you know what I mean? And I would even argue that when it comes to the Republican Party, they never really been about the people. They've been more about, you know, I guess just specific group of people, right? For example, like maybe just like helping out rich or just, you know, businesses, right? But the Democrats, for the longest, you know, they were, you know, blatantly oppressing people, right? So if you
Mm-hmm.
go back to the history of the Democratic Party, right? You want to go back as far as like, I don't know, the 1820s when Andrew Jackson was president and what he did to the Native Americans, the forced removal, right? That was under a Democratic president. Uh, and then if you go a little bit more forward in regards to us, right? The president who what do you call it? Went to war against Mexico was a Democrat,
Mm.
James K. Polk, right? And then right after that, all the Democrats in the South with the black codes and all the segregation, those were all Democrats, right? So it continues, right? And you would say, well, that was a long time ago, right? That didn't happen, right? But up until 1995, bro, up
Mm.
until 1995, 32% of Democrats and you know and 30% of Republicans said that you know immigration was you know would strengthen our country, right? So that wasn't a lot,
Mm-hmm.
right? That was still you know very little. They were pretty much the same thing. If you think about it, 32% and 30%, they both pretty much said you know that immigrants were not really good for the country. 1995, that's you know almost what 30 years ago. I mean, not that long ago. I mean, that's our lifetime, right?
1995, that was a sucky sucky era.
It's like, yeah,
The
exactly,
the,
right?
the Clinton era.
Exactly, right. So it's not like it's not like it's you know they've been doing it for because people could say well you know if you're talking about the 1860s or whatever then that's a long time ago and everybody was racist like nah bro like 1995 was not that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were here you know we've been living through that you know.
Mm-hmm.
So if you look at now like you know in 2020 the it's switched now. um 83% of Democrats you know believe that it's good for the country immigration you know. And what do you call it sorry about that bro.
That's
And
all right.
38% of Republicans believe that it's not. So now it's a huge transition, right? 2020.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because we have a lot more, um, you know, people of color uh, as Democrats, right? So from 1995, we only had 23% that were non-white.
Mm.
Now you have 41% that are non-white. So that's where the transition has happened, right? It's because more people of color have joined the Democratic Party. So it's not so much that Democrats themselves changed, you know, like they changed their views. It's that you know there's more raza there, there's more blacks, there's more Asians joining that party. But again, why are we joining that party, right? Is that the only option we have?
Mm.
So
Yeah, I get you. I
um,
get you. That
yeah, man,
makes me think about a lot of things, bro. That makes me think about in the beginning of anything when you're trying to transition from a certain type of people to more of an including type of people. When you started seeing more color mix in politics, those first people, how much did they act upon their own will instead of becoming what was already there? I mean, they could be people of color, but how much of their essence goes into their work? Does it get whitewashed? How much of it gets whitewashed? So if it gets whitewashed, then we're back to the fucking square one.
exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like we have to wait years for them to actually, come with their own effort and putting their foot down. That comes years after, like, and I believe that we're still waiting on that. we're still waiting for that foot to be fucking placed fucking hard on the concrete. You know what I mean? Be like, this stops here, motherfuckers. You know what I mean? But like, I mean, that takes years, bro. And this is the 90s when we started to see more people of color.
Yep.
Man, that hasn't really been that long. What, 20 years?
Almost 30 years.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know, man. I just feel like we have to wait a little bit longer. We have to encourage our people to step in there and make a change. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think Democrats are smart in the sense that they use our faces to get our votes. If you have a brown face, if you have a black face, if you have an Asian face, I mean, you're gonna vote for that because that they look like you, right? You don't even give a shit, or you might not give a shit if they have policies that are, against what you believe in, right? So, I mean, a lot of these people are corporate Democrats, and what I mean by that is that they still serve the corporations because at the end of the day, the corporations are the ones who run the country.
Yes, banks too. Yeah.
So they're in bed with each other, bro. Like they essentially, corporations say, you know what, pass these laws, and we'll fund your campaign. You get in office, just cut us a break, and we'll get more into that as we talk about more of these people who have done that.
Besides inside influences, there's outside influences like China.
That too, exactly right. So globalization, right? How that
globalization, yeah.
We'll get into that too in a minute, right? How that affected not just immigration but the country here, right? Right. So yeah, I mean the history of Democrats is not a pretty one, bro, and it hasn't really been in our favor, right? So going back to Clinton, the year of the sucky, right?
The sucky year, yeah.
So, when we talk about the wall, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is Donald Trump, right? I'm gonna build the wall, yada yada. But that idea first began with Clinton, right? And I remember that. I remember when they were talking about expanding on that and just creating a wall and just having more technology for the border patrol agents. And I remember his speech, right? His State of the Union, 1996. He talked about how we cannot tolerate illegal immigration and we must stop it. He said that out of his own mouth. If a Democrat were to say that today, it's almost like unthought about it. It's almost like unheard of. But back in the day, it wasn't just Republicans; it was Democrats. So, like I said, I mean, Clinton was not our friend, bro, and he was a Democrat, right? And a lot of Clinton is almost like, kind of like, I would say that he's idolized by our people because of what he did in office. He's like, somebody said, as a joke, he's like, Bill Clinton was the first black president before Obama because of he liked jazz or whatever. It was a joke, obviously, but like he was able to relate to minorities. But what he did to minorities, bro, aside from that, like Bill Clinton, bro, he fucked us hard. Like not just the wall, bro, the war on crime. The war on crime, how like that led to mass incarceration.
Didn't he start a lot of programs to arrest?
Yep, low-level offenders. Right? The three strikes rule, right?
Yeah, that too. Yeah.
The sentence minimum, right? so that it wasn't just the immigrant community. It was a continuation of the war on drugs, right? From Ronald Reagan. He continued with the war on crime, and that contributed to families, growing up without fathers, which contributes to crime, which contributes to all kinds of shit we're gonna talk about in another episode, right? How that contributes to that. So, and the term super predators, right? And Biden was also part of that. I remember him giving a speech about how, we got to stop these super predators because they can kill my grandma, they can kill my mom, like.
That's the least of it. I don't know if you've seen that video of Biden back in the day where he's talking about that he wouldn't want none of his family going into the jungles.
Exactly.
Remember that one?
Yep. And somehow either people don't know it or they've never heard it, or if they do hear it, they're like, oh, that was a long time ago. Nah, homie, that was 1995.
Man.
Some of you motherfuckers were alive when that happened.
that's crazy how people can just like, nah, just because he's better than Trump. So
He's a Democrat, bro.
let's
He's
just
a
forget it. Let's
Democrat.
forgive and forget. It's fine.
Sleepy Joe, you know what I mean? Like he's changed, you know, he's a good guy, you know. Like again, it's the rhetoric that comes out of people's
Yeah.
you know, like and today, and that was Trump's biggest issue was that as much as you know, people either liked him or hated him, like he just was not a good speaker.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the time, the stuff that he was saying was just he was just spewing hate, you
He's
know.
still not a very good speaker.
It's not. And and people got stuck on that, his rhetoric, and I understand, you know, I understand why people don't like him. You know, it's not like, oh, you know, you should like him and be like, oh, you know, it's like I'm not promoting him. You know, I'm not saying that you should be somebody that you should vote for. But what I'm trying to say though is that you know, I understand, like I said, as to why people don't like him, you know, in our community. But yeah.
Yeah. Another thing, did you see the video of when he was in The View?
Nah, what video?
Well, he was in The View, you know, the show, the what is it, like a talk show, The View. There's like four women, like Whoopi Goldberg and I forgot who else. They're in that show. So basically, he was on it, basically excusing himself from the allegations that he supposedly like some sexual conduct allegation that he was a part of,
Mhm.
and he didn't even like the women there were literally telling him you should apologize, like literally like giving that hint, apologize, fool,
Yeah.
you know, and
Yeah.
he was just he did not fucking do it. I'm like, this fool, like how, and people are buying it. People are buying it like he's a sexual predator. He's like sniffing fucking hair, children hair at that, and all this crap, and people are buying it. People are like, nah, he's better than Trump. Like,
Only videos
like,
on it. And then
but
somebody said, yeah, go ahead. Sorry to cut you off, bro. Go ahead.
oh no, I was just saying like, but that's not the point that he's better than Trump. Like, just
Yes.
because it's him against Trump, that's not the point. There was other people in the ballot. Like, people don't
Against,
understand that.
shit against Chorro, you know, which one are you gonna pick? Which one do you want? You want to take a back?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you want?
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah, man. And you know, he's got a record too on just how he's has not been good to our communities, you know. So once he became the leading candidate, I was like, I ain't gonna vote for this fucker. Like, I'm just not gonna do it. And I got shit for that from my own people. Somebody told me that, you know, like it's the lesser of two evils. I'm like, see, that's the kind of mindset that we need to stop having.
Mm-hmm.
So like we need to stop having that mindset of, oh, you know, well, he's better than him. Like that just means you're lazy. You don't want to do any work, you know, and you don't want to get into to like you don't want to think about another option because you don't want to, maybe you're afraid to stand alone on you're afraid to take a stand, you know what I mean, like on some of these issues that might be controversial, right? Because like I said, I mean, for some, I know a lot of people who voted for Trump that are Latinos. Like I personally
Mm-hmm.
know them, you know, like, and from my own experience, I don't consider those people like terrible people. I understand why they voted for him. Like I said, they told me why. I was like, all right, you know. But everybody who was voting for Biden or was like, well, I hate Trump, so I'm gonna go vote for Biden. I'm like, okay, that's if that's your logic for voting for somebody, then are you really a critical thinker? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it just doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. You have to look into it. Like right now, we're messing up the economy like bad because of many reasons. You know what I mean? So it's like, if anything, people should have thought about that and included Trump because look at what he does for a living. You know what I mean? So for that factor, but I mean, like I said before, you know, you're not gonna love a president fully ever. They just it's not that some of them may have, you know, the people's best interest, but they have to address everyone, not just the poor, not just the people struggling, not just the people working 9 to 5, which is the people that basically have the outcry louder, you know. So they're the ones that are on social media with their striking and all that, you know what I mean? Uh, but that doesn't mean that they're gonna be the only ones that they're gonna look into and provide sources or whatnot.
Exactly.
You know, they have to give an opportunity for everyone, people with businesses, people, millionaires actually as well. You know what I mean? They make their millions by working. Yeah. So it's like, that's the thing, like for a long time too, I used to think of like millionaires and like people wealthy as like bad people. But it's like they made their fucking their money, you know, working their asses off. You know what I mean? So we're gonna hate on someone that worked their asses off. So are we promoting laziness? Is that what we're gonna promote now? Because we're hating on people that did the effort, did the work, and now are you know are seeing their you know fruits of the labor. You know, so like what are we promoting as people that are critical, like people that actually think critically and think outside the box and don't just look at things, you know what I mean, as a yes, as a simple, you know, matter. We look at everything. We give an equal look into all aspects of the issue, not just at what we're facing as an issue. Like I'm facing a lot of things on the daily, like this, you know, I'm not so well off with money. Like, you know, I'm trying to get my degree and all that. So I am working towards that goal. But people that don't put themselves in shoes where you can have a better life, a better future, how why do they feel that they have something to contribute by saying bullshit? Like they have not only, I mean, it's cool, contribute, like talk about issues, like let's discuss this because we all matter, our point of views matter. You might add something to the conversation that someone else didn't look into it in a certain way. But if you're just going to be putting bullshit in it and you really don't have, you're not putting that effort in your daily life to say, I'm doing something, this is how I'm working towards that goal. Let me give my people that resource to do that same thing. And all they want to do is just talk shit. Just go on social media and talk shit all day. You know, and then I'm sorry, and then they feel like they actually contributed something just because they put their 2 cents of bullshit in the conversation.
A lot of times it's just shit that they fucking hear from somebody else, and it's not even their own original thought. Like, for example, when the whole George Floyd thing was happening, everybody started putting black squares. Like, you know, one person does it, monkey see, monkey do. You know what I mean? Like, and if and some people were calling you out if you weren't doing it. It's like, oh, do you believe in racism? And it's like, why? I mean, why are you following a trend, bro? Okay, is that gonna change? Like, if you put a black square, is that gonna change what's going on in the street? You know what I mean? Like, I remember what I was saying. I was like, the reason why we had that issue, you know, there's so many reasons why. I don't want to get too much into it because we're going to talk about police brutality or the narratives of police brutality in another episode. But there's so much that goes into that that's not brought up. We just bring up, oh, you know, it's another person, another cop killing another, you know, minority, you know, like it's a narrative, and then we just believe it and we feed it and we put it on social media, you know, and then your friends see it and then their friends see it. So I've never been somebody that follows a trend. I've always questioned things. Okay, why is everybody saying this?
And you know what, bro? I feel the same way too. And sometimes I feel like I'm like kind of I don't know, bro. I feel like some people think of me as like a traitor to people of color. Because because I never even said none of that, you know, putting the black square on the Instagram and none of that, BLM and all that. I didn't do it because we have our own problems, bro. Play this simple. Why focus on someone else's issues with their people when we got our own crap to deal with our people?
We gotta first.
Yeah, not only that, bro, but I see it as things happen for a reason, bro. If someone got caught up doing something and they get shot up, it's because they put their damn fucking self in that position. For the most part, when I was doing the whole, you know, in the streets as a thug and all that shit, I got pulled the fuck over all the damn time. Because I was already carrying that vibration with me. I had in mind criminal activity. So that brings about trouble.
Yeah.
Really? You're looking for trouble. You'll find fucking trouble.
People, you're victimizing people when you were doing that. So, and
Mm-hmm.
that's never taken into account. People who do that
Mm-hmm.
have criminal records. And like I said, I don't want to get too much into that because I want you to save that energy for that specific episode.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Just to segue off of that, I want to get more into the party and like some of the things that it's done, right? So aside from the war on crime, right? Once Clinton got out, right? The big thing was, um, once then Bush came along, whatever. Like I said, he continued doing the same thing. But when Obama came along, that's when, like,
Mm-hmm.
for me personally, I don't know how you felt. I was like, damn, like this is really it. Like this is the end of racism. Like, or like, we finally have somebody that's not white as a president, right? So I was all in on that. The guy was well spoken, still is, very charismatic, a very likable person. I mean, it's really hard to hate Obama. Really, really hard
Yeah.
to hate Obama because I mean, the way he carries himself, like he's a likable guy. He knows how to connect with the youth. He plays basketball right. And the first time it came around, I voted for the guy. I was like, I'm all in. Like
Yeah.
his rhetoric was there, you know, um, and some of the stuff that he was talking about, I believed in it. I was only, I think, 21 when he actually 22, I think, when he got when he got voted in. But something that people don't know about Obama, bro, and it boggles my mind, is that out of all the presidents combined in the 19th century, he deported the most people, bro. 2.5 million people deported from 2009 to 2015. I'm
That's why I
talking
was smiling, dude.
combined. I'm talking about all the other presidents. I'm not talking about just one combined. And that's something that to me, that's just like, wow, like, obviously that affects us directly because we have a lot of people who are undocumented, you know. And this was a continuation on the whole petty crime stuff, like if you
Mm.
got pulled over for some shit, like uh you had a DUI, whatever. I mean, yeah, you shouldn't be driving drunk, right? I understand that. I'm not going to defend that, but it was a continuation of all the other presidents, policies that he didn't change. He didn't change it, and his whole slogan was, yes we can and change, right? So when I started to see that, I was like, homie ain't down with us. He's not really down with this.
Mm.
Like and I would even argue that Obama really wasn't the first black president. And the reason why I say that is because melanin, yeah, you can say he's black or half black, but his mindset, his culture, he was raised by a white woman. His father wasn't around the pictures.
Mm.
His culture is mainly white or European. So how can I expect him to connect to my struggle or even to the black struggle when he never really experienced that? You know what I mean? And I'm probably gonna get shit for that. That's my opinion on that matter because you know his struggle compared to somebody who grew up in the hood, or I mean, and I'm not saying he didn't struggle at all. I mean, the guy did. He earned his stripes. The guy is well deserved of what he got. Like I said, I don't hate him, but to deny that and just because he was a great speaker, to me, it's just irresponsible and it's stupid.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Man, I've been smiling, bro, because I'm thinking like black politicians showing up for the white ones. And it's true, bro. You're right. You're right on it, man. He's is you know what, bro? From the get-go, I did at one point I did feel like this is a change for America. Damn, that's crazy. How are they gonna have a black president? You know what I mean? That's crazy. I wish Tupac was here. But you know what I mean? But like it really turned out to be more of a minstrel show, bro.
Yeah.
It was really a minstrel show. He was just tap dancing for the white people up there. Um, I mean, shit, that might sound racist as fuck, but look at it. Look at it. A guy that comes from an absent father pushes the agenda of incarcerating black and brown men. How does take that in for a minute? Let that shit sink in for a minute. A black man as president pushing the agenda of incarcerating brown and black men and leaving the mom to be mom and dad at home.
Knowing how hard it is,
How do you guys feel about that? Yeah, how do you guys feel about that? You voted for a guy that pushed that agenda, you know, and that's really what it came down to. It. He deported so many fucking, you know, our people.
Yep. And not just
And
us,
yeah, we're over there sucking his.
Jamaicans, you
Yeah,
know.
well, yeah,
So that too.
exactly.
His
He
own.
just basically, and people are still licking his tip.
They
You know
are.
what I mean?
They still are.
I'm serious. They still are to this day. They still get mad at Trump because Trump was over here. You know, I want to see that birth certificate. They're still mad at Trump for that.
That's what he said. Like I
And
said,
like, don't you want to see that birth certificate as an American? Don't you want to see that birth certificate too? Why are you mad at that? Why are you mad at that? Don't be mad at that. Like, come on. Like I don't know, man. There's a lot of people that just because they see color of skin in high places, they're like, yeah, he did what to our people, and then they find out he did what to our people. Fuck it, yeah, he was black. I'm like, come on, for real? He did that to our people. You're still gonna cheer for that fool? Nah, like you think about it. You gotta think about it. You know what I mean?
when he was trying to push Obamacare, I mean, to me that shit was trash. And I say that anytime that the government, I don't know if you noticed, when the government takes control of something, bro, it's usually fucking trash. So I get the intention behind giving everybody healthcare, but when your healthcare is fucking shit, then why even have it? I mean, I remember my dad, he's like, I'm just gonna fucking take the penalty because like I can't even contact with anybody. I'm trying to contact somebody from Obamacare or whatever, you know, like, and I can't, there's no office that I can go to pay this shit. Like I call people, like, why even have that? If you're gonna make it that difficult, and I remember his logic was like, well, if you can pay for a cell phone, then you can pay for healthcare. Okay, like at least make it good though, you know. But then again, you know, if it's from the government, it's probably not gonna be good. That's my opinion.
And how do you feel about those Obama phones?
I never had one, but I mean, I guess it helps people out if you don't have a phone, you know.
I seen them. That's just trash. That has the Obama stamp of approval. Bullshit. The bullshit stamp of approval of Obama. That was right there. You know what I mean? But yeah, overall, man, people need to be more critical about things, not just because they see something pretty, it doesn't mean that it's pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, man. So just going back to just how, you know, the war on crime and, you know, the deportations, you know, and something that I kind of skipped here over when I was talking about Clinton was NAFTA, you know, the North American Agreement, you know, that fucked up not just here, but Mexico. It just contributed to the drug cartel, you know, because one, you had more drugs being imported because of that. Two, you had businesses going to Mexico. Let's say you're a farmer growing corn. Uh, you had people who would go there and then sell corn to Mexico. Like think about that, bro. Mexico is how can you even do that? You know what I mean? So like it was just cheaper, so they couldn't compete. So they had two choices to, you know, get out of business and just starve to death or join the cartels. Contributed to crime, you know, which contributed to everything else, right? And also the exploitation of workers in other countries, right? Democrats have always been about that, you know, and because they're like I said, they're in bed with corporations. So a lot of corporations left, you know, because of globalization, right? Somewhere else, like you say, you talked about China, right? They went over there, Walmart's, you know, um, just huge corporations going over there, exploiting people, paying them cents a day, just to continue getting money, which is good for them. But hey, you're causing jobs over here. You know, like you're. That's why, you know, it's not immigrants taking your jobs; it's corporations taking your jobs away. You know, so that causes hate towards our community, right? And you see that too with the black community, which we'll talk about more in another episode, right? Because I've heard this too, right? There is some black folks who believe that immigrants take their jobs. Also, you know, I've seen that, you know, like when we had these protests too, I would see that.
Yeah, I seen those videos, man. They're at their workplace.
Yeah, I understand why they feel like that too, because I mean, they're Americans and they feel like they should be helped, you know. But it's not the immigrant; it's the corporations that are, you know, making it pretty much impossible to work here. You know, again, but then again, you have to ask yourself, well, if you're competing for a no skill job, then you know what does it say about you?
Yeah.
With an immigrant as an American, what does it say about you? You know what I mean?
And like you said, man, like the companies, they have to pay all these fees and stuff, for the employees and all that. So they bypass that.
Yep.
And I mean, it's understandable, they really don't end up with profit at the end of the day if they have to go the legal way. So they end up doing what they end up doing. And, that's just gaps in the system. If anyone has, is mad at anyone, they have to go to the county. They have to go to the owners for doing that. You know what I mean?
Exactly, bro. Exactly. All right, so just going into Biden, right? So we
Mhm.
talked about how Biden, he, for most people, he was the better president because at least he's not Trump, right?
Mhm.
That was the logic behind a lot of people who voted for him, right?
Yeah.
But let's compare his rhetoric with his actions, right? What did he say to as opposed to what he's doing, right? So in the very beginning, right, what did he say? He talked about, for the first 100 days, there's going to be a moratorium. There will be no deportations, right? Uh, to for immigrants, right? So in the first weeks, bro, in the first weeks of his presidency, right, he deported over hundreds of people already off the bat, right? And I guess you can kind of give him a pass here because there was a federal judge who basically said, you can't do that. You still have to continue to deport, right? So people might say, well, that's not his fault. He still tried to do it. But yeah, but like, why are you gonna promise some shit like that when you can't pull that off? You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna say, hey, this is not gonna happen, then you better be able to fucking back that shit up. Otherwise, don't say it. So that's why I give him a hard time for that too, right? And the whole kids in cages, right? How he was, that was the whole thing with Trump, like, well, you have kids in cages, and to me, what was funny was when Trump was like, well, who built them? I don't know if you ever saw the debate, right? When it was the debate with Trump, he's like, who built the cages, and Joe, and he was like,
Mhm.
kind of fucking laughed about it, right? So as far as that goes, um, I don't know if you know, but there's more caravans coming up, right? So
Mhm.
it's supposed to be something around 7,700 unaccompanied
Wow.
minors coming over here, right? And they're still in these facilities. They went from kids in cages to migrant facilities. They're no longer kids in cages, bro. They're just migrant facilities, right? So it sounds a little bit nicer, but they're still doing the same shit.
Yeah.
There's only 15,000 beds available, but I'm sorry, there's already 7,000 kids here, but they expect to have you know if we want to be able to have everybody in these facilities, right? We're gonna need about 20,000 beds, and
Mm.
COVID and all this other shit happening, um, that's not ideal, bro. Like that's just, even if the whole I'm not gonna deport people, whatever. I'm not gonna keep them in cages. Just to have that many people in one place, it's
Mm.
not good for the pandemic that the Democrats have been desperately trying to stop with all the mandates and shutdowns, right? It just doesn't make any sense to do that. What do you thought?
Mhm. Yeah, man. That's a lot to take in, bro. Um, what I gotta say about the whole thing with kids in cages is that the issue, when you look into it, it stems from Mexico's problems. And if you look into Mexico's problems, a lot of it is poverty
Yep.
and the lousy way that the government is dealing with that. Not only that, but they're pretty much sold out to the cartels.
Oh yeah.
So that's another issue. Now, what we have fault in America, us as Raza, is that we're pushing that cartel agenda and making that shit more popular.
Hmm.
Not only people within music, but people with their style of dressing,
The Chalinos, huh?
the Chalinos, yeah.
That last week.
And they see it as a party thing. Oh, I'm dressing like this to go for the weekend, to drink it up. And in their day-to-day basis, they don't wear that.
Do that shit.
So it's like they're putting that image of it's cool. Let's do this. Let's get away from our day-to-day routine and become this persona that we're not. Just to glorify it. Just to say, I'm in the in crew. I'm in the, I'm a part of the in crew.
Yeah.
I don't want to be excluded. I want to dress like them because they're dressed like that. I want to be included. So let me dress like that. Even though I'm sure somewhere deep inside them, they feel that is wrong. The whole movement of the cartels and all that. I mean, come on. Especially gangsters should know.
Yeah.
Gangsters should know the deal.
Exactly.
The cartels, they kill children.
Mhm.
Aren't they against killing the killing of children? Aren't they against the raping of women? How much of that same mentality goes into that? But then no, but then they go in the weekend dressing in their outfit, all fucking cartel down, and
Those, in their big ass trucks.
exactly, and then they're all like, nah, I'm tough, I'm tougher than you because I'm dressed the way I am. I listen to the music that I do, and I'm pushing that cartel agenda. And it goes against their beliefs. It's like, I don't get it with people nowadays. They have a certain code, and then they don't follow that shit. They're actually following the opposite of that code, and they still call themselves gangster. Gangster, they should be. One thing that I did like about the whole thing in the whole COVID thing about gangsters, that they were actually patrolling their neighborhoods and getting people out of the neighborhoods to stop looting. That's one thing that I noticed about gangsters in certain areas. There was actually videos showing clips of like just gangsters in certain neighborhoods, and like at gunpoint getting people out of the neighborhood that weren't from the neighborhood. We're trying to loot the stores in that neighborhood. They were trying to kick them out. So I'm like, dang, good for them. That's what they should do. That's what the fuck they should do.
That's how you protect the neighborhood, right?
That's taking pride into your neighborhood. That is it right there. You know, but this whole thing that I'm talking about, the whole cartel style and all that, that's not only is it a no-no in the whole code of of following things in the hood, but it's all around the fucked up thing to just glorify. And that's what's fucking up Mexico. That's why people don't want to even travel to Mexico anymore.
I agree. I agree. Yeah, I mean, just when the last time that I went, the last two times that I've gone to Mexico, because I used to go as a kid a lot, and I don't really remember any of that. I mean, it was going on, but you know, what really, like I said, made it worse was Nafta. Like I said, it just made trafficking a lot easier.
Mm.
Even though you had, even though you had the wall being built at the same time you had Nafta, so these motherfuckers get creative. They build
Oh
tunnels.
yeah.
They put them in trucks, that carry supposedly other liquids. I mean, these are some smart motherfucking people
Mm-hmm.
to pass this stuff. And the last two times that I've gone, even in the village that my parents are from, it's a small village. You have people who are not even from there,
Mm-hmm.
owning the neighborhood. The cops are involved. And it sucks because as somebody who grew up, or just grew up going there as a kid and just having that freedom to walk on the street and not have to worry about, hey, you can't be out at night because te van a robar or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you know,
Fuck the people robbing you. The cops will rob you.
exactly right. It's like, well, what the hell? Why do I want to go back? Why do I want to go? Even my grandparents, when my grandpa was still alive, was like, yeah, you shouldn't come back. And it's sad to hear that he's like, yeah, like you shouldn't come over here because it's not good. Like as a matter of fact, bro, my grandmother who's in her 90s, or late 80s, some of these motherfuckers went up to her house. They scared her because they were looking for a gun.
Mm.
How you gonna go up to an old lady, bro, and almost give her a heart attack because you want to be a tough motherfucker? Like these fools have no morals, bro. Like none. Like you just, and like you said, people glorify that shit, and that contributes to why we have fuck ups in our families, in our neighborhoods, because it's just like it's gotten out of control, man. Like I don't know if you
Mm-hmm.
the El Chapo series on Netflix. Like if you actually
Mm.
look at what he did, man, this guy was not a good person. I mean, some of the shit he did, like off the bat, this dude was like killing people. I remember when they built a tunnel for him and he killed the people who built the tunnel. It was like, dude, these people helped you out, and you're the way you repay them is you kill them. Like I don't understand that at all, man. I mean, but that's just me. I mean, I'm not a killer, so like I don't get how they think, but
It's just crazy, man. That it's just it's just deeper than what you think. You know, it goes way deeper than that. You know what I mean? It's so deep that it's just at this point it's next to impossible to eradicate all that shit.
Exactly.
Because there's just so many people that are undercover sold out, and they'll tell you to your face, like, I'm here for you. But you know what I mean? Right as you turn around, they'll fucking shoot you. You know, like it's just crazy, bro, what people will do for power and money.
Exactly. All right. So one of the ways that I would say that, that our people have tried to get out of that situation or gangs or whatever is by going to school, right? It's they're trying to get an
Mm-hmm.
education, right? But unfortunately, a lot of us don't have money. So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of us get into debt. Luckily I never did. I mean, I don't know about your situation, but I got grants and scholarships, so I was able to
Mm-hmm.
get out that way. But for those who don't or don't have an education or just are financially illiterate, for lack of a better word, they get debt, and that's one of the issues. And that's not just affecting Latinos and Latinas, but just overall the youth, of today.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that Democrats were pushing was, getting rid of or canceling student debt, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of it, right? Um, I think Bernie Sanders and Warren were trying to, cut as much as 50,000, right? And Biden was not really with that in the beginning, right? It wasn't until he was like the clear, you know, uh, Democrat runner-up, whatever what you want to call it, that he began to kind of talk about that. But he never really gave it a number. But now that he's the president, he's like, nah, I'm not gonna do 50K. I'm gonna do 10K, right?
Mm-hmm.
Borrower. So he's made it very clear. He's like, yeah, I'm just not responsible for. It's not good for the government to do that, So I guess you can say, well, you got to be grateful for whatever he's given, but at the same time, again, like, is that really going to help 10K? Maybe it'll save you a couple of years or whatever, but still, if you're in debt 40K, bro, I mean, even if you have a good
Mm-hmm.
job, I mean, it's like these are like modern day haciendas, dude. Like you make money, but then you have to pay it back. You're in debt, so you don't really make any money. Like I know a homie that I think he got his either he's getting his PhD or got his master's, and he's over 100K in debt. He
Wow.
also got a house, so you add that to it. He's never gonna pay that debt off. He's got his degree, and I'm that's good for him, but I wouldn't put myself in a situation just to have a degree, and a lot of people probably are going to hate me for this too, but I just wouldn't do it. It's not financially responsible to do something like that, regardless of what job you're going to get, unless you're going to be getting paid millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars, and go ahead and do that. But most of these fools are going for jobs in the humanities, and that doesn't really pay that much, So there
Yeah,
again,
man.
he's not helping us out in that way. The Democrats are not helping us out, when it comes to that, at least not enough. Yeah, they deferred it to till September. They talked about, if you have debts now, especially because of COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and he's also proposed, making community college free and, making public 4-year universities free to anybody who makes 125K or less, you know, but he has a lot of power to get rid of a lot of these things, but he's not going to do it because, like I said, he has, a lot of friends in corporations and, and friends in government, and that, I mean, he makes a lot of money off of that. So it doesn't benefit him to do that, you know?
Mm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, man. Similar to what you said, I had a friend that graduated from university and with a bunch of like the loans and shit, and he ended up working in the same job where he did before he went into college, into university. I'm like, this fool, like,
That
come,
shit back. Take that shit back.
like, why the fuck? Give me that fucking. Let me borrow that degree. Let me fucking use that shit the right way. Like I mean, I'm like, dang. But I think besides just learning a trade, besides going to university for something, you need to already have a sense of what you're gonna do afterwards. A
Exactly.
lot of students that are so into their studies and all that, they're into the studies. They're not thinking about okay, the day will come soon where I will eventually graduate. What the fuck am I doing in the meantime to make sure I have that guaranteed job? I mean, it's just people don't think ahead. They just think they're just for the moment, which I mean, it's good to be for the moment for some things, but that a career, you need to get that shit guaranteed on lock. And
Yeah.
how do you do that? Is by because look at it this way. You want to go into something that you've never done before. Who's gonna fucking hire you? It's because you have a paper?
Unless you got some networking skills or know some people and
Exactly. That's what I was gonna get at next. Networking. That works a lot. That works fucking wonders. And I learned that from the music world. You know
and
what I mean? So that's that helps a lot to know to who you know and things like that. Sometimes I joke around with my wife like damn, like I wish I would have married someone that had a fucking that was like wealthy and shit, like a wealthy family. Then they would have put me in high places and shit. But like you know what I mean? So you know what I mean? But people some people get lucky. They fucking marry into a family that's wealthy and then they hit up they give them a fucking a company and shit. You know what I mean? Like, oh fuck, good for you. You didn't work for it, but put your effort into it and then you can blossom into something greater. But you know what I mean? But that's the thing. People don't look into the future. They just look at the what's now, and there needs to be fucking funding for a program that would help someone develop that, develop that skill of networking, the skill of just being out, because a lot of people are introverts.
yeah,
What are they gonna do? How are
especially
they gonna get hookups?
especially our people. I mean, I would say that Raza, like we're taught to be humble and not be outlandish and not go out there and put ourselves, because if you do, it's like, oh, look at this fool, he's también presumido, or like
Yeah.
the shit now because he's doing this. Now,
Mm.
I think that was my biggest flaw as a hip hop artist. I didn't know how to do that because of that mindset. I was like, nah, I don't want to go out there.
Mm.
Oh, look at this fool, this is a shit now because he's rapping, like if I would have had good networking skills or if I would have had good connection skills, I think I would have made it. It was for me. I don't think the issue was so much talent. Obviously I was still kind of raw, but I didn't have that skill of like going up to people and be like, hey, check my shit out, check me out on this, on this webpage, whatever. And because it's almost cultural, it's almost like nah, like no, don't speak out too much because if you do, like then you're being a fucking show off or I mean, I think even more so for women. I mean, because they're not supposed to speak at all
Mm.
in our culture, but for dudes, it's like, just shut up, just go to work, be a hard worker. That's what we value. Just work hard, and when you get home, just kind of kick it with the homies, have your beer, have your whatever, and don't even really think about stuff like that, just work,
Mm.
because that's what we value in our culture is just hard work and it's good, it's good to have that hard work mentality, but at some point, hard work doesn't really pay off, at least financially. For me, that's been my experience because I mean, like what I've always thought about, I was like, as descendants of people who lived in haciendas and yeah, and slaves or whatever. Hard work paid off. We would have been filled a
Yeah.
long motherfucking time ago because we were working hard
Yeah.
our whole lives, and
Yeah.
look at us now. You know what I mean? Like we're just, I mean, for me at least, like I feel like I'm trying to make that step for my daughter, so she doesn't have to deal with some of the shit we had to deal with.
Mm. You mentioned that we're just expected just to go to work, come back, and just kick it with the homies or whatnot. For that, I didn't. I don't think. I joke around with my wife like I don't think I made a good homie because I always wanted to do something. I didn't want to just chill and just kick it and drink. Like I would always tell my homies like, hey, wait, let's fucking go do something. Let's fucking like this because some of my homies were rappers too. Hey, let's freaking bust the flow. Let's record a song. Let's do something. Hey, fool, you always want to do something. Why can't you just sit and just drink? I'm
See,
like, that's fucking boring, dude. Let's fucking do something. And like, fool, just sit down. I'm like, nah, wait. So it's like I don't think I made a good homie. But fucking but when we talk about man, you're right on target with that, man. Like there needs to be more done for our people in that aspect that that we need to understand the fact that we're more than just workers and shit. We're more than just fucking like 9 to 5 slaves and shit. We're more than that, and some people get so used to it because that's the Mexican way.
mhm.
It's just your folks will tell you growing up, trabaja duro. That's all you gotta do. trabaja duro. And it's all labor. They just look at the labor side. And for years, as a young dude, I would work in labor, in empaques and things like that. That's all I did as a youngster. I started work at 14 years old. You know what I mean? And I went for the job for myself. I looked for that shit for myself because of that that idea in my head was always trabaja, trabaja, trabaja. And and then nowadays there's kids that don't want to fucking work at their fucking 20s. I'm like, this fool, like, get your ass out and fucking work. Like, find yourself a job, like something, and this we gotta encourage that. We really gotta encourage the fact that you can work with your hands. Yeah, that's cool. That's a start. That way you can learn what it takes to work, what it takes for someone that doesn't have an education, what they have to go through. They learn it. They learn the hard way. That's good. That's good for them to know, to know what hard labor is. But don't forget that you're worth more. I mean, even the person that's stuck in the 9 to 5 is worth more than just labor. Exactly. They need to snap out of it and just find time to get their their priorities straight. Have the priorities settled, but then have some time to put their mind into something that they can make money from eventually.
Especially when we live in a producer consumer society. If all you're consuming, then what are you producing to this world? What are you giving back that's going to be relevant? It doesn't have to be something that's going to make you money, but what's going to be your stamp that you leave when you die? And that's always been my mindset. Like, since I was younger, what am I going to leave behind? What's going to be my legacy? Am I going to be somebody who just fucking lived and nobody even knew? Not that I was famous or nothing like that, but like, how did I change lives? How did I help people out? And I think for us, we're working, we're doing our thing, we're parents, and then to be able to do this afterwards, I mean, and obviously for our partners and for our kids to cooperate, you know what I mean? I know you heard my daughter in the back a couple of times, but
yeah, my daughter came back here too.
I didn't hear anything, but
I mean, she was playing with the guitar.
So to have that, and still be able to do that, I mean, that just shows that, for me at least, that we're doing something, we're producing something for the world, whether they listen to it or not. That's on them, but at least we're putting ourselves out there in that way. We're not just consuming shit, we're not just not giving back to this society. But
yeah. But I wanted to add in how this fits into the whole narrative that we're trying to put, the topic of do we fit into, are we default Democrats? And that fits into it in the way that this is our culture. Our culture is what makes us do what we do, because some of us hold that so deep in us that we feel that we can't depart from it. Because when we do, we're not that humble. We know we're letting go of that humble beginning. But like I've said before in the other episode, it's not like it used to be. That humble beginning that you so dearly hold in there, it has evolved into you have to evolve into it with it, what it evolved to, which is now, it's not like it used to be. Like Mexican traditions was more like, the wife has to be at home and the man has to just provide, and it ain't the same anymore. You can't do it. You can't work the same system in this new way of living. So with that said, you can't just think that you're gonna just go about it in one perspective and get the best out of it. You have to look at it in all angles. You have to look at the fact that we live in a capital society, which you have to make that money to survive. Exactly. And you have to learn of smart ways to make that money. And if you see someone struggling, don't be a dick and just be like, fuck them. Like, it's good for you too to teach someone else to do it, because you never know, that person could be your next piece of bread when you're down and out.
Not just being a good person and a good human being overall, So
yeah, that too.
I agree with you, and it's a good it's a good thing you brought that up, because I mean that's gonna be our next episode. Economic philosophies, and and how our people, how we tend to lean, from for the most part. But we'll give you more of
Mhm.
that next week. We don't want to get too much into that. So to segue to the next, you know, uh, part of the history of the Democratic Party, right? Now we're talking about the hypocrisy of it, right? So
Mhm.
I think we've seen a lot of it, uh, recently, especially with this whole COVID thing. Like
Mhm.
it's affected people's lives, obviously, in so many ways, right? Uh, but specifically our governor, of California, right, which is, people are trying to push him out. They got on a bunch of signatures to get him out because of the way he's been running the country. I mean, the state, So I don't know if you knew this, but when he was ordering the shutdowns, he's been switching them back and forth, right? But I think it was in the summer when he did this, because he has a winery. I don't know if you knew that
Mhm.
in Napa Valley. He's got a winery there, and he was calling for all these shutdowns, but his was still open.
Hmm.
And other businesses that he's either associated with or has what do you call it, shares or whatever. He not only did he keep them open, but he actually gave them COVID relief, which they didn't need. If
Mhm.
you're open, you don't need that, right?
Mhm.
And as a matter of fact, this guy, he earned $600,000 in 2018 off of shares with some of these businesses that he's kept open. So that's when it makes you think: are these whole shutdowns about safety, or is it some kind of corporate takeover? To because at the end of the day, it's the small businesses that are the ones that are suffering. It's not the Targets. It's not the Walmarts. It's not you know these big corporations, or just bigger stores that are everywhere. It's the mom and pops places that are just not
Mhm.
making, and to see something like that, to see a guy tell you, hey, you need to stay home and wear your fucking mask, but hey, I'm gonna go out and have a fucking dinner with my friends and get caught, and then be like, I shouldn't do that. I won't do that next time, but still stay home. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, come on, man. How are you gonna be saying some shit like that and still be about, this is why it makes you think, what are these shutdowns really about? It's more than just COVID, you know what I mean? But
Mhm.
thoughts on that? What do you think of that?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really see too many videos on that. I seen a lady politician. I forgot who it was. That a lot of people were like posting about that she was saying for to stay home and stuff like that. And she was
You traveled,
out
right?
in the yeah, she was out and about in stores and stuff like that, or out and about in other places. And my point of view in that is like, yeah, why can't they do as they preach? Like, why is that so hard? Um, to like do the same. Like, how are they going to do the same? And not only that's not new really, that the government does other than what they preach. That's really nothing new. They do all these. I mean, come on. There's a lot of pedos and shit. A lot of pedophiles that have been caught going to that island where what's his name that supposedly uh killed himself.
Yeah. That's all they was.
Epstein.
Yeah.
Fucking Mr. Sucky Sucky went out there. Clinton was out there.
All of these fools are out there. All these them.
Yeah, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, they're preaching all this, all this. Oh, we're with you, society. We're with you, humanity. Fucking out there doing God knows what. You know what I mean? Probably sacrificing some humans and shit. Fucking who knows what they're really into behind closed doors. And it's like, why can't they do as they fucking preach? Like, it's just crazy. It's just a crazy way to look at it, that we're voting in these people that are just fucking hypocrites.
Yeah, and that's why I talk about Democrats, because I mean, the argument could be like, well, Republicans are doing the same thing, but the difference between Republicans and Democrats, in my eyes, is that Republicans are not promising shit to people of color, or
Hmm.
Raza, specifically, because we're talking about us, well, we can make it more general, but I want to be more specific. They're not promising shit to us. They're not saying, oh, if you vote for me, we're gonna help you out or whatever. So, yeah, man, like that's my issue with that, because if you're gonna promise some stuff, then you know what I mean. Like don't pander to us and pretend like you give a shit about us, and then when it comes down to it, you're not giving a shit. So you know what I mean. Like just yeah, that's why I specifically target them, because they're supposed to be our friends. They're supposed to be more progressive, and yet we still see all the rhetoric and the policies don't match up. And like I said, people don't look into that. People look into nice words and, oh, but he said this. Oh, but she said that. Therefore, they're better than Trump. They're better than Republican parties because they're all just haters, you know. And it's just like, how can you not? How can you just accept that and not even question it? I just don't understand, especially if you consider yourself a critical thinker, you know, because the majority of like educators or just like people who are considered progressives or whatever you want to call them, liberals, the majority of them are just, you know, especially Raza, they're just Democrats, and
Mm.
it almost feels like it's by default. Like I say, you know, like they don't even consider something else. They don't even consider going to a different area to research, you know, because like if you are, and like I said, you're a vendido, you're a traitor to the culture, to the cause, to whatever you want to call it, you know. And I think that that shit's got to stop, bro.
Yeah, I get where you're coming from, bro. I get where you're coming from. In a way, even if I don't subscribe to it, or if I do, the whole giving people labels of what they are, liberals or whatnot, because some of that mentality, some of that belief, if you believe certain things, you know, you're gonna fall into a certain category, but it's not, you're not completely that, because I noticed some people have certain views from the Democrats that they believe, certain views from the Republicans, certain views from, you know, from the left field, which is like, you know, like the radicals, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the leftist.
Right? Yeah, leftists. So it's like, why even give labels if some of the beliefs everywhere leak out into one person? That's why I really don't even like care to even call people whatever. I just care to talk about the certain issues that are at hand, which
Hmm.
is like, you know what I mean? So if someone's talking about the wall, let's address the wall. If someone's talking about the economy of the US, let's address it. Where's the flaws? Where's the money going into? Why are we putting more money into that and this? Like, you know, let's address it. And that's what I'm saying. Like when we talk about the progressives, which is people that have the knowledge of how we can do things with the funds, how we can do things with our beliefs, and how we can, you know, put our beliefs and our efforts that we're trying to put it into work. That's what really what the, you know, what they're trying to do, right? Progressives.
Pretty much, yeah.
So what how why are some people looking at it as a bad thing? That's what I don't get. I mean, isn't that the point, to learn it so we can put it to work, to learn all the angles so we can understand everyone's point of view, and we can work some kind of deal that everyone's happy with, or at least somewhat satisfied with? Why is that a bad thing to look at? Why is that a bad thing to for a person to want?
I think it's because people play identity politics, you know, and like I said,
Mm,
being with a certain party, then most of the time you feel like it's kind of like what we talked about last week, you know. If you consider yourself this, and you got to be all about this, you know. If you consider yourself this,
mm,
then you must be living this lifestyle, and if you don't, then you're not really about it, you know. If you call yourself a Chicano, you know, you better be throwing up the fist every other 5 seconds, you know. Otherwise, you're not a real Chicano or whatever, you know. So
yeah.
I think that's why people are not even considering, they're not even looking, like you said, at the actual issue. It's more of like, okay, well, what is my stand on it? How do
What are
I,
you about? Yeah.
as opposed to, okay, how do we solve this fucking problem? Like you talked about earlier, you know, somebody goes on social media and they're like, well, this is what I think about this, yada yada yada. They just go off on the topic, but offer no solutions, right? They just tell you how they feel about it. If you're gonna be critical of something, right? I believe you better have a solution, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and I feel like most people don't do that. They just give you your 2 cents and tell you how shit's fucked up and don't want to fix it, but tell you
Mm-hmm.
how it's fucked up and how it's affecting them. But they just walk away. Okay, well, okay, like what do you want me to do about it? Are you just gonna complain and whine the entire time, or are you gonna try to find a solution? Because at the end of the day, if you're not, then I don't really care what you have to say to me.
Yeah. And I feel there's a lot of those type of people saying something. I feel
Exactly.
that those people feel like they got something to say, but they really say nothing. All they say is just crap that is just, why even open your mouth? But yeah, man, that's exactly why I don't believe like a Chicano is many things, not just stereotypically what a Chicano is. You know what I mean? So that's the same thing, same type of ideology I put into politics. Uh, Not just because you claim to be Democrat, are you going to fully embrace it? Because it's just how are you going to fully embrace? Like it's just hard to even fully embrace, even if you wanted to. It's not even possible because there's just so many things that society in itself won't let you be. You know what I mean? Yeah, you have to be inclusive. You want to be inclusive, but then you want to do all these other things on the side. So it's just you're prone to fall into the whole hypocrisy of politics. So
Exactly.
it's like there has to be,
Got to take a stand.
yeah, there has to be a new way to look at politics. I think there has to be another renewed thing that they have to incorporate into politics because that's to be an everyday thing forever. Like just because there's a Democrat and we're voting for him, he does something that's a little bit, what I mean, radical. We're like, fool, what the fuck? We counted on you. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
nah, like,
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah, and just to segue, on the last couple of hypocrisies, because I do want to get to some the things you talked about, which you've already kind of mentioned. You know, I didn't mention the drone airstrikes, that
hmm,
happened recently again. Everybody hated Trump, but he didn't start a war, and this is probably one of the first presidents that didn't do that, but
hmm,
but off the bat, homie Biden, he just launched an airstrike. He killed 22 people, and there was some casualties.
wow,
Right? So there was people that had nothing to do with it, right? These drones, that's what they do. I mean, they just kill. They don't they don't have the
wow.
ability to to think. They just kill. So it was supposed to be a response, and it was a response because of there was an airstrike on I think on a American coalition. A person
Okay.
attacked, right? But the thing, it wasn't just so much that he did that, is that he did it. He gave like a 5-minute warning and just launched it, and they didn't even really debrief Congress, and that's not the way you do that. You're supposed to actually let them know, hey, we should do this. Homie just fucking did it.
Hmm.
And again, if that would have been a Trump or any other Republican, then you know that would have been a whole different like ball game. You know what I mean? Like it would have been it would have been huge if it would have been somebody else. But you know,
Didn't Trump bring home troops?
he did.
A lot of troops.
Yep. Yep.
You know, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. How just because he's a Democrat, they wanted him to win. I mean, let's fucking admit it. Let's just admit it that Biden, with all his fucking flaws, with all his allegations, he's a Democrat. The Raza are just gonna fucking bite into it, And it's like, especially the ones that have no knowledge of any other. A lot of people that I talked to, and I asked, did you know that more than one Latino was running for president? They're like, nah, for real? I would have voted. I'm like, pendejo, what the fucking you didn't you vote? Well, yeah, but I voted for Biden. I'm like, well, fucking, it was right there, dude.
Exactly. And it goes
Did you
back.
not? Did you think that the other options were just like for fun, or like what did you think the other people there listed were about? And they're like, I don't know. I just seen Biden and I put the mark. I'm like, ah, que pendejo.
Goes back to what you said earlier. People don't do the research.
Yeah.
And and you would think that even if they didn't, right? because you can see the other candidates when you go and vote. Even if you have no research on the guy, I mean, I would never vote like
Mm.
this. Not 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 now. Maybe in the past I would, but if you're kind of iffy on Biden, you could have been like, okay, what is it Raza? You know, if you're about the Raza, whatever, you could have you could have voted for somebody that had a Spanish surname. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people didn't even think about that because, like I said,
Mm.
you vote away if you waste, and therefore, But at least if you voted that way, you know, you have some kind of principle. But if you're voting for somebody just because you hate the other guy, I don't understand that. You know, I don't understand that. So
Yeah.
so
See, the reason why I voted for a Chicano, not only because he was Chicano, but I did some research on him, and he was talking a lot about the companies that he would help Latino companies into, in not only help them into cutting back on fees that they have to pay and stuff like that, but into making sure that they have that services that they need to, that companies need. Companies need like services for maintenance and things like that. That he was in a run for, like help with that. And he just looked like he knew what he was doing. um and I'm like, damn, like I haven't seen really Biden really talk much about, economically what he was going to do. And Ricardo Roque de la Fuente.
there you go. Yeah,
Roque de la Fuente, yeah. Uh, he talked a lot about that, and I'm all for the economy, because that's really what drives America.
exactly.
If someone that's running for president doesn't mention the economy, doesn't mention how they can put their 2 cents into making the economy a little better, that's a red flag right there. I
Exactly.
feel.
Exactly. And I think that's a good segue into closing it out and for today, and how we're gonna, get into economics, next week, right? I think especially today, a lot of our people, I would say, are left leaning. What I mean by that, is like they're more progressive or more, um, they're not. I mean, you have some conservatives, obviously, because we have, if you're religious or whatever, right? But for the most part, our, people, especially people in academia, it
Mhm.
needs to be more on that side. So when it comes to politics, a lot of the times, we're against, corporations, and some extreme cases we're against capitalism. Because
Mm.
we feel like that's the reason why our people can't progress.
Mhm.
You hinted at some of the stuff that I agree with you, but I want to save that for the next episode, and to really get into the different economic philosophies as to why people tend to lean towards some, um, but yeah, man, I just wanted to close it out with that, and
Mm.
what are your thoughts on or any closing remarks
Yeah.
on today?
My closing thing is like I mentioned before, you're not going to be totally in on the same mentality that the next person is, politically wise, but don't be a fucking dick. You know what I mean? That's bottom line. Someone that's wealthy, someone that has a company, someone that has a store is going to feel a little more entitled because they're putting that into their environment, into the society, that they're putting that into society, so they feel like they're contributing more
Exactly.
in comparison to someone that's, may not have had the same chances that they had. But that doesn't mean that one or the other is better, that one view or the other view is, we need to look better at, or we need to accept more because of they have a company, or they have a, so they should know better because they have a business. They should know better compared to this guy that just studied, and he knows a lot about politics and knows a lot about it, but he never really worked. He worked, but not really in where he wants to work. Never had a chance to really get into that field.
Uh-huh.
But let's just keep it at. Let's just end it with, uh, 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 you know, make sure that your views are your views. Don't try to
Opposed.
force. Yeah, don't try to force your views on someone else. They have their views are their views for a fucking reason.
Yeah.
And if they know what they're talking about, they're not just talking out of their ass. They actually have facts and they actually can provide why they believe what they believe. Just fucking just be okay with it. You know, they're gonna, but you can beat their ass up all you want.
Take this shit.
Yeah, they're not gonna change their fucking views, man. Like for real, they're not gonna change their views.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you. And especially as an adult, maybe with the kids, you can kind of influence them more. But as an adult, once you're an adult, it's really hard to change somebody's mind. I mean, my approach, I don't try to change people's minds. I just try to inform you. Especially if you have, if you're saying things that are just not true, or just things that you heard and don't have any kind of evidence to back it up. It's like, no, it's actually like this, and not to be like, oh, you're wrong. It's like, hey, like this is the way it actually is, and it's up to you to either believe what I'm saying to you, go look it up and read it for yourself.
Yeah.
No, as a matter of fact, do that instead of believe me. Like, don't believe me. Go read it. Go read it and then make a decision on your own if you still feel the way you feel. But most people are just not going to do that. Because, like I said, they're stuck in their ways. They don't want to challenge themselves because then that means they're going to change their whole identity. Have a transition of like, if you've been taught that you should be a Democrat as a Raza, then you're like, what if I'm not a Democrat? Does that make me a Republican? Do I even have another option? What else? What other parties can I be? You know what I mean? Like, is this the only thing? There's the Independent Party, there's the Libertarian Party, the Green Party. I've been through all of them, bro. I've changed so many times, and I'm probably gonna change again because my mind is always changing. I'm always growing as a person, So I'm not who I was 10 years ago. I'm not who I was 15 years ago. And for me, that's a beauty of life. You change, as a person, So those are my closing remarks on this whole matter. Is Raza, Democrat by default? I think we are until we get exposed to different ideologies or different ideas or just more information.
Let me ask you this before we go. That way we can inform some people and have some people think about the choices. Can you break down each of those different, ones that you mentioned, sides in politics, like the, liberals, independent, the Green Party, Democrats and Republicans. Can you break down just in brief, what they are, the differences?
I mean, I could do my best to break them down exactly what they believe. I mean, I know that the Green Party is more focused on like just like bettering the earth and just going green with stuff like that. Independent, usually, I would say for the most part, they're still kind of liberal, but they might differ in certain ways. They might not get corporate money for their campaigns. The Libertarian Party, which I'm part of now, and for some people like when I told people that I identify as libertarian, they're like, how can you even do that? Because libertarians basically believe in very small government and in capitalism, like just let capitalism regulate, the economy, let capitalism, like dictate how we live, and some people are against capitalism, so they cannot understand how a Chicano can be a capitalist and also at the same time a libertarian. So like you were talking about, I'm all about opportunities and making the best out of them, and I'm not about, getting handouts and just being pandered to, because I feel like that doesn't help anybody out. So if you really want to know more about these, there's more than just three of them. I think there's got to be at least 50 of them, to be honest. There's like a women's party. There's so many of them. You really look into them, but people just don't do that, and they don't have enough support. You don't get any media play or whatever. So people don't really care or don't really know. But if you would take the time to actually look into them, and if you feel like that you connect more with that, then I would say, choose that as opposed to just a party that you've been pushed down your whole life and what you're supposed to be just because you don't want to be a Republican or you don't want to be, you don't want to be with that party. But that's my final remarks on that.
Yeah, if we can provide that, bro, in the description on YouTube, if we can provide the like somewhere that lists all the parties, That way people can get a sense of, maybe they can find a new identity within them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Not only that, last question, bro. Do you ever think that besides Republican and Democrat, we will ever see another party as president?
I think if shit continues the way it is today, I think we're gonna have to. I think Bernie Sanders kind of tried to do that, you know, uh, because they identify as what do they call themselves? Social socialist democratic or socialist democratic thing. That's what they call themselves.
Mm,
I could be wrong. You don't have to quote me on that. I'll look it up for sure. I'll let you know. Um, but I think that's kind of a push towards that, towards kind of like divide itself from the Democratic Party and go even more left leaning or more progressive, if you want to call it that. So
mm,
I think as we continue to hear more things, I think we're gonna have to. But I think at the end of the day, politicians will always try to get our votes. Just
hmm
do the research and try to see what we need. So that's it,
And
man.
because this is a podcast for the Raza, by the Raza,
Exactly.
will we ever see a Raza member as president?
I,
Woman or male?
I think the way we identify Raza, the way we have broken it down, I think we could. But will we be down with the Raza or be down with our causes? That I can't tell you because I think if you're gonna get to that spot, you have to pretty much either be a coconut
Mm,
or be as close as you can to a coconut. But a Chicano mindset, you know, uh, you know, power to the people mindset, it's gonna be really hard to get up there unless you pander
mm,
again. But even if you pander to people, I mean, just strictly focus on Latinos, unless I mean, we do become the majority, and may possibly in the future. But anytime now, I just don't think that our voices really matter to the country, especially because a lot of our people are immigrants, so they have no
mm.
power. But yeah, man.
Well, what you said, man, we're gonna be the majority, man. I mean, Latinos, we be fucking, man. So that's for a fact. You know what I mean? So comparison to other races, man, we be producing them kids, man. So best
So
believe that's gonna be the point. That's gonna be the case one day.
we be fucking. That's a good way to end it, bro.
Yeah, let's end it like that, man. Let's end it like that.
Any shout outs? Where can people find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook?
Yeah, all of that. People, La Raza, tune in every single Friday. We're gonna try to upload as soon as we can on Fridays. If we don't, by any chance, upload it on Friday, check us out on Saturday. We'll for sure have it by Saturday morning. You can check us out now. We're on Spotify and all other audio platforms. We are for sure on YouTube, and we will have all our the things that we talked about. We're gonna have all that the facts where you can find it for yourself and check into it and learn more about it. We will have it in the description on YouTube. So make sure you tune into the next episode. This is gonna be a dope one. This is gonna be really, really good. We're looking forward to it. Like always, this is pláticas that should be had, even within your own household, and we will provide that knowledge to you guys.
Exactly. So yeah, check us out. Uh, give us your feedback. I know some people have already
Hmm.
checked it out. They've directly messaged me, and for the most part, it's been positive feedback, which I always like. Obviously, it feels good to have people like your stuff. But even if you disagree, go on. If you don't know us, go on the YouTube, comments and be like, hey, I don't think that's true, and have a conversation with us. We want to see how you feel and how you think.
Hmm.
But again, we're willing to do that, and like we mentioned, earlier, eventually we're gonna invite the public to
Hmm.
join us, on the last episode of this season, hopefully, if you just want to contribute some stuff to the conversation. But on that note, it's S Flow from Raza Stand Podcast.
And this is Brown, Raza Stan. We're saying a ratos for now, but we will catch you in the next episode. Gracias.
People.